Yeah, I think that's live.
Cool. Hello. Welcome to Junior Fours Head Live. It is pouring it on the tideway, but we are here on the roof of British Rome headquarters, just on the north bank of the Hammersmith Bend. I'm Rory Cruikshank, one of the co-founders here at AllMarkOne, and I'm Coxless, co-founder of Provisional, so we're going to sit here and talk you through the racing. The race is about to start. We're roughly halfway through the course here, maybe just over halfway. So as soon as the crews come to us in maybe 10, 11, 12 minutes time, then we'll cut to the racing. But until then, we just thought we'd have a bit of a chat about the brand new event that's joined the calendar, which is pretty rare here in the UK for new events to join the calendar.
Yeah, it's great to have a new event. I mean, I think everyone's seeing how Head of a Charles has such buzz to it, and if the British rowing and the British rowing world can sort of adopt that and bring a whole exciting weekend of racing, then that's really going to help the rowing community here. It's pretty wet though, so we're all sort of bunkered up here at the top of British rowing, but I think for the rowers out on the course that won't change a thing. If anything, it will flatten out the wind and make sure they have a clean run down the championship course.
It is looking really flat out there. This bit here can get really bumpy. When we were out with the Wingfield Sculls only a few weeks ago, this bit was pretty unrowable, and we had all the singles tucked all the way into the Surrey Bend. But actually it is dead flat. That rain is probably pushing the water down here. You had any pretty rough races on the tideway in your time?
Yeah, I mean a few have been cancelled, but it was always quite fun actually. I always enjoyed doing the dual races. So when I was rowing for Leander, doing some dual races against Oxford and Cambridge, always a highlight. Always quite nice to also come back to your club and race. So I know tomorrow for the senior Fours Head, a lot of the crews from Brooks, Leander, and all other clubs will be sort of representing their home club. So yeah, excited to see that. But it's great to have the juniors kicking off the show for the weekend, and yeah, an opportunity to go out and show them what they've got. The first part of the season sort of almost sort of coming to an end, so now everyone would be like, before they sort of bunker down for Christmas and put in those hard miles, an opportunity to get a bit more racing. So I think this year is great. Racing's gone ahead. Last year there was a lot of cancellations, so we're very lucky that even though it is wet, it's still happening, and that's the main thing.
It is. This is the first time the Fours Head weekend has run since 2022. It's been cancelled every year since. So we're really excited to be back on the tideway here for a Fours race. This is the first time that we're doing a junior Fours Head. Fours Head on the Saturday tended to be oversubscribed by nearly 2 times every single year, and a lot of crews were getting turned away. So one of the event chairman, Tim, has put together the Junior Fours Head alongside the committee of the Fours Head with a load of support. But we've actually been oversubscribed on both the Fours Head and the Junior Fours Head this year as well, which is really exciting to see the growth of rowing here in the UK. That's a great problem to have, having oversubscribed events. Of course, we want to be able to make all of these events a little bit bigger. 275 boats today. I think we can stretch that over the next few years, but to start with, I think this is a really exciting show of where junior rowing is in the UK.
And maybe we could start making it into a Henley. Add another day next year, or keep it coming. The more rowing, the better for all of us rowing fans out there.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll spend a little bit longer tomorrow talking about the seniors and how the edition of today has opened up tomorrow to more universities and clubs and senior crews that maybe weren't getting event entries in during when they're having to compete with all the junior teams. But as Sholto, with your job at Crew Connection, where does the UK sit in that big international rowing scene, right? The junior GB team is competing at a stupidly high level at the moment, and we're having a really successful junior program. And with growth of this event, how does that look for international success?
So at Crew Connection, we're always speaking to college recruiters, understanding what they're looking for, and everyone we speak to is just so impressed with the standard of junior rowing. And that doesn't mean just the athletes who are getting selected for the Team GB, the Coupe, the home countries and the World Championships. It's a standard across the board. So the coaches are looking for athletes on all levels. There's so many opportunities out in America, and it's about finding what's right for you. But I think with that process, coaches are looking for potential, and they're looking for not who the athlete is today, but who the athlete's going to grow into and where they're going to come. So always US coaches are looking for athletes from the UK, and I think it's such a good opportunity for athletes to go and either get scholarships or get recruiting spots at Ivy League schools and just have an amazing 4 years out in the States. I certainly did, and it was an amazing time to sort of develop as an athlete and have that fun racing experience. So to help that, Crew Connection, we're launching these talent ID camps, which will be happening in December 14th and January 25th, where we're getting several US coaches over to Thames Rowing Club. So we've got Yale, Penn, Columbia, BU, Syracuse, Duke, UNC, many more. I'm probably missing out a few names. Rutgers, some Clemson, some really exciting names on the men's and the women's side. And athletes will be able to come, they'll be able to meet the coaches, do a short erg in front of the coaches, a tank work in front of the coaches, and just showcase their skills. The parents will be invited as well, and it's a great opportunity to sort of start your recruiting journey and just get some more face time with recruiters. I mean, we always find that the more you can speak to them and also get in-person interactions, the better it is for athletes, and the more your opportunities of getting recruited definitely sort of increase. So that's a little something we're really excited about at Crew Connection. But we're always busy, we're always helping. So if anyone's ever interested in the US, reach out to us on Instagram, follow our podcast, or just send us an email.
Yeah, I think events like this are one of those like good staple good way to put it, like standard like setting events to be able to show off like how good you are as an athlete. What type of things are coaches looking for at these type of events? We've got, a lot of parents, a lot of supporters watching that have probably sat there trying to work out like what more they can do, whether it's in the US or in the UK, right? We've got like big universities in the US, and we've got universities in the UK that will also be looking at all of these athletes. What are these athletes like aiming to do out on the water today? Like not only for their own like home club support, but like the J16, J17, J18 to also show off to other people, whether it's GB selectors sat on the bank or whether it's like potential university recruits.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about showing your performances over a long period of time. So Junior Force has a great opportunity to have a good row and then update coaches. We say coaching, sort of getting recruited is about courtship. So you're constantly having back and forth with recruiters, send them emails, having calls, hopefully in-person meetings. So if you have a good result today, send us a brief summary of how the row went, what you did well, and actually the result to these US recruiters. Because the more information college recruiting coaches can get on you, the better. And the more that's going to sort of increase your chances of getting recruited to a university. So, yeah.
Cool. Wilf, we're just going to turn up the volume on the stream a little bit. It's a little bit quiet. It's already done.
I think it's been up for a few minutes.
Perfect. Just having a look. So we just got a few questions as per usual at one of these live streams. The race is probably underway. We're about halfway down the course here, just over halfway. We've got Hammersmith Bridge to the left of us here, and then we've got the final straight before we come into Putney Embankment. As the crews start coming towards us, we'll flip the camera around and get them. But at the moment, we're just waiting for that first crew, which I believe is the Tideway Scullers men's junior quad. They're bow number 1 off in this race before they come flying down the track. If you're a parent or a supporter and you want to know a little bit more about this race, we've actually put together our first ever supporters guide for the Junior Fours Head. We've spent over 10 years now turning up to these events, sitting on the bank, watching every single boat go past and learning all the ins and outs of where to park, where to go for coffee, but also like the questions that we get asked when we're still on the bridge by parents and supporters alike. So that's like for free now on our website. There's no payment. There's never going to be any payment for those supporters guides. All the information you're able to have a bit of a look through, but hopefully that kind of opens up your eyes and you can watch the race a little bit more excitedly without having to try and work out, especially during these slightly complicated head races, why the crews have started in the order they've started in. Especially for these juniors, it can be a little bit all over the place. Yeah, and it's a fantastic guide. I looked through it myself, and it's one of those things that I wish I had when I was competing on the Tideway, but it's always great to see
the amount of information out there. So Rory, what were some of your sort of highlights racing on the Tideway, and what would you maybe be thinking about of how to approach sort of coming into Hammersmith Bridge? What would you be thinking when you're coming under there and to sort of kick on and motivate your crew?
Yeah, so I think the last time that I did the Fours Head was in a junior boat back in like 2016, 2017. And again, as we kind of mentioned, that order, it can get a little bit mixed up. And I was doing a lot of overtaking coming through Barnes Bridge, and trying to like keep that line pretty tight is pretty important. And I wish that at the time I had a little bit of a chat with Rory Copus and Zoe Di Toledo at Imperial College, but now Zoe is one of the founders at the Winning Cox, which is a like coxing consultancy, and again just like a bank of information for those coxes. And I kind of wish I'd had that when I was there. Again, it's all kind of like free information of where you should be on the river, and you know how you should be doing different overtakes. I know that the Fours Head's a little bit different, because with a lot of coxed boats and a lot of bow-loaded cox boats and coxless boats, it's actually on the overtaking crew to do the moving out, whereas at something like Women's Head and Head of the River, the slower crew has to get out of the way. Otherwise, just like I've had some really fun fixtures against Molesey during my time at Brooks, and again some like great Head of the River races, but sadly was never able to do the full Fours Head course in a Cox 4, which would have been really fun during my time there, but it was never to be. But yeah, no, it's a great course, and I think like this is the start of that season. Lots of the juniors don't race at Sculler's Head and Pear's Head, so this is one of the first ones for them, and the build up to Quinton, Hammersmith and the likes. I think we are 2-3 minutes away from the first boat coming down the track, so we're gonna switch the camera around and we'll get back to you shortly to have a little bit of a chat about the crews coming down.
And we can actually see them in the distance coming round the bend.
Perfect. Right, we'll see you in a minute.
Did you hear it, or was it too quiet?
Yeah, no, I turned it up straight away. Yeah, no, as soon as we got the comment, someone will hear that now. Right. Cool. Right. Oh yes, yeah, we've got a cloth.
Yeah, there's one on the top of my bag. Inside the orange. Open the main pocket. Yeah, inside the orange thing. Just a bit like that. Yeah, how do it? Oh, you've made it worse.
Oh, have I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's that? I think you might have made it worse, yeah.
Ow.
You take off the engine. Take off the engine.
Okay. 25 quid one. Right, we should probably commentate. Hello. So we obviously just had Tideway Scullers crew number 1 coming past there. And now I've got a bit of an overtake going on here. Looks like we've got a crew from Clare's Court. And then in the dark kit there, who is that? What do we reckon? So there we go. We've got Claire's Court on your screen now. And now we've got crew number 9 from Leander Club here. So they were, or Leander as juniors, were winners of the Forley Challenge Cup back in 2023. So it'll be interesting to see if they can sort of get back to that form, that winning level this year. Followed by crew from Tiffin School. So maybe not one of the bigger names historically in school rowing, but they've got a very tidy looking quad there. And now Maidenhead Rowing Club, crew number 8. So it looks like they've been overtaken a couple of times. They've obviously had some very, very fast crews over the years. You know, a club rather than a school there. But maybe slightly less quick run today with a couple of crews coming past. Marlow Rowing Club, crew number 12. Past Hammersmith now, chasing them down as well. And then Wallingford Rowing Club. And now I've got a crew from up north from the Grange School. So Grange School, home to Tom and Emily Ford, Olympic medalists. I believe another boat from Marlow Rowing Club, so great strength in depth being shown by that junior squad here today.
Big up Marlow, Sholto's alumni.
Sholto's original club, with whom I believe he won the Forley Challenge Cup.
2022.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say how long ago, but it makes all of us feel old now. when we talk about how long ago we were juniors. It's Abingdon School in a quad here, so I suppose we tend to see more of them sweeping, but quite a tidy looking quad there from Abingdon. Followed by Shrewsbury again, another school we would traditionally maybe associate with sweeping a bit more. So, you know, perhaps kind of having this junior fours head event has encouraged more crews to go into sculling boats for the winter season and kind of race the quads here today. Now on your screen we have St George's and King's School Worcester. So it looks like King's School Worcester really closing the gap up to St George's, starting one place behind them. So for St George's, you know, they'll be coming down the course, feeling that pressure of another crew right up behind them. And for Worcester, you know, tricky in that they will feel the puddles. They'll feel a little bit of wash coming from that other crew, but also they've got that motivation of, you know, they can feel themselves getting closer and closer and pushing on to that other crew, pushing for the overtake. And now crew from Borlase on screen, so traditionally a very big sculling programme, another club based up in Marlow. Got a foreign crew on your screen at the moment, Team Lombardia, Italy. So I hope those guys are enjoying the lovely British weather today, having made the trip over from Italy. We've now got a quad from Shiplake College, so winners of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup in sweep, obviously, at Henley last year. So very strong junior program there. Be interesting to see, can they kind of translate that speed into sculling boats and depth across the squad. Clare's Court sea boat here. Looks like they're overtaking the crew from Buell Bridge, but I think they themselves might have been overtaken by the Shiplake crew we just saw. So a lot of overtaking going on here. Some crews making up, real ground, and that can really change kind of what your head race is like. It's perhaps the difficulty of going around the other crews, but also the enjoyment and excitement of coming past crews and coming through crews as you race down the course. So these two crews, I think we had Norwich School and City of Cambridge there, so some Eastern crews. And now we are looking at a crew from Bedford School. So another club that's had some quite strong 8s over the years. Maybe we see them less so in sculling, but another very tidy looking junior quad out here on the river today.
The camera's giving me seasickness.
I know. Do you want to take that lens up again?
There we go, the fours.
So yeah, now we're on to the Coxless fours. So quite a tricky job for these young steersmen. You're navigating a sweep boat down this course. You obviously have slightly perhaps trickier boat to. I mean, maybe Sholto could tell us more on that, but slightly trickier with perhaps something sometimes a slight differential in leveraging the boat to steer that down the course compared to a sculling boat where everything's quite symmetrical.
Yeah, unfortunately I was famously bad at steering, so I would not be authority to comment on that. Anyone who was lucky enough to do any sort of seat racing with me can testify on that. But yeah, definitely hard to steer this in a Coxless boat, but I think some people have great steering ability, really good situation awareness on the river, and luckily enough, whenever I raced Fours Head, I was lucky to be with one of those stronger steering teammates.
Got a boat from St Paul's here, just coming past their home club and under Hammersmith Bridge now. Maybe slightly lower in rating than some of the other crews, but looking quite tidy and very long, I think. They are getting around the pin at the front.
Yeah, nice rhythm. You can almost hear it from here. That backswing to that rhythm looks really good from that St Paul's crew. And coming under the bridge, like just over 2k to go, you've put your hand in the fire and you're holding on to try and sort of red line it and get a really good result.
I think this looks like a crew from Latimer here, so another home club. Just going past their boathouse. Looks like they might have overtaken Walton Rowing Club on the way down. Yeah,
Latimer crew looking strong, really going for it. I mean, they look like they've been aggressive on that first half of the course, so exciting to see how they continue to push forwards.
I do apologise to Walton, actually. It looks like Walton are closing up the gap to them. They're followed by Wallingford and now a crew from Eton. So a bit of a bucket rig in this crew. What are your thoughts on bucket rig, Sholto?
I think, they can go faster, and I definitely think it's got to be configured in the right way. But Will Satch, coach at Eton's, definitely got this crew moving well and it looks like that bucket's effective. I think if you're on the bow seat of a bucket, you're a long way away from the sort of person you're following in the stroke seat, so you've got to definitely get it right. But we're seeing quite a few buckets nowadays coming onto the scene, so definitely can help with the rhythm, but it takes a bit of time to get used to a bucket. I mean, Shiplake coming through under the bridge now, also with a bucket, followed by a Latimer crew as well. So yeah, strong showing.
And then another St. Paul's boat, back to a standard rig for these guys. And again, you're looking very long around the front, around the pin there, from the St. Paul's crews, as you'd expect, I think, from a Bobby Thatcher coach crew.
And how much home advantage do you think there is being on the Tideway, Wilf? What would you say if this is your home stretch? You wake up sort of, you don't need to travel all day. You also know the course really well. What would you say that how much does that give?
I think it can really give quite a lot, definitely. Yes, there's the lack of the travel, and there's just knowing the water, and yeah, it really depends. Not to speak ill of oarsmen in general. I think there can be some oarsmen who maybe spend a lot of time in coxed boats and actually are very focused on their rowing and don't get super familiar with the river. But if you're a sort of really switched on steersman and have that watermanship, then that's a massive advantage versus, there will be people out here who are kind of racing on the course and steering the course for the very first time. And, as a cox, having done it for the very first time, it's a lot of pressure to get the line right. And if you're doing that, with a steering foot whilst, doing a pretty tough 6.8k race, that's a very tough ask coming from afar to new water. So yeah, you get a big home advantage, I think, if you know the water and you're kind of switched on as an oarsman to where the stream is on your home water.
And coming into shot now is a crew from Shrewsbury, and followed by Eton and Abingdon. So really all quite close here, these crews. Like Rory said earlier, if you're being overtaken, you can keep your line. It's the responsibility of a crew that's overtaking to move out. So a bit of sort of cat and mouse in terms of steering between these crews, but quite exciting in a head race to be close and to feel the momentum of another crew. Always useful.
I think all three of those crews, I would say, I think you've been quite sensible for this time of the season, looking very long, maybe slightly lower in rating, but getting the kind of long, powerful strokes in. So I think, very, very good kind of calm, composed rowing for, November, this stage of the season from those school crews. We've had Bedford, Hampton, just in shot now, I think.
Yeah, that's crew 63 from Hampton coming under the bridge and getting that little bit of a boost from the bridge. It seems like they've pushed off Hammersmith Bridge and are starting to push on towards Harrods.
Quite a racy looking crew there, maybe someone a little bit higher in rating, really going for it, which can also work. It's just interesting seeing kind of the different styles and the different kind of race strategies here and the different rhythms in the crews. A couple of reasonably local crews here, Dulwich and Kew House, coming into Hammersmith Bridge side by side. It's always very exciting, sort of fighting for that fastest water under the second lamppost. It's almost like doing your own boat race as you come down the track. I believe this might be the first of the coxed fours now. Shrewsbury School crew here. So I remember, I think in 2024 they won that event at the National Schools. So very strong looking coxed four. Looks like there's some big guys in that crew. And then a real tussle here between a few stalwarts of schoolboy rowing. We've got Eton nearest to the camera, and then Bedford and Shiplake all in the coxed fours here. Three crews side by side. It looks like all three of those coxes actually doing a great job of steering a smooth line and giving their crews space and not trying to do so much bullying of the other crews that they just end up clashing and losing ground. So really good job by all three of those coxes to kind of manage that situation of having three boats side by side there as they come under Hammersmith.
And it looks like Shiplake are having a real stormer, really pushing through. And in this crew, I think they seem like they're going to be favourites with a couple of junior world champions in that boat. So I think it was Ben Hunt Davis's son who rode with Steve Trapmore, my coach at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. So a real exciting crew there with strong pedigree. So we'll see how they continue to develop throughout the season.
Yeah, I think a real rowing dynasty in that family. I think their cousin Franny is also an accomplished rower as well. Now got a crew from Hampton and a crew from St Paul's in the coxed fours here.
So what would you say the Cox 4 is an interesting boat? How would you tailor your coxing to a Cox 4 versus an 8, Wilf? I mean, it's going to feel heavier, the rhythm's going to feel different, and how do you adapt in a race like Fours Head for that?
I think you've got to kind of maybe focus a bit more. You've always got to row the whole stroke in every boat you're in, but there's maybe a bit more of a focus on the whole stroke and power through the stroke rather than the front end in the 8. I suppose kind of the key thing in the 8 is maybe not so much all the power going on at the front. I mean, that's very important, but I think the reason the front end is so important in an 8 is there's 7 other guys there, and if you're not really on it with them, you can't put your chunk down. I'm going to talk about 8s here, but going back to the Cox 4, there's that little bit more time. It's that bit heavier. Each stroke's going to take that bit longer. So I think it's that emphasis on levering the whole stroke, using the hips, finishing the stroke, and just not expecting it to feel as light and racy as an 8, and being okay with that, and realizing that if you're getting those long, powerful strokes in, and then letting the boat do the work on the recovery, you're going to be making ground. And have you spent much time in Cox 4s or?
Yeah, last Cox 4 I raced was I think Fours Head in 2023. We were lucky enough to get the win against the mighty Brooks. So it was I think it was 2 seconds in it, along with Ollie Wynne-Griffith, Tom George, and Charlie Elwes. So it was with me and the Radley boys, and then we had Henry Fieldman coxing us. So it was a good fun project, but it's definitely a hard boat to get going, like you said, that heaviness, and just like knowing how to use that to your advantage and actually allow your use your body weight, that swing, that added element, because you're carrying the weight of a cox amongst 4 people instead of 8 people.
And I guess you spend very little time in if any at all, in Cox 4s at Caversham. So sort of how is it when you come back for the Fours Head week and you jump in a Cox 4 for what must be the first time in a while?
Yeah, you've just got to adapt quickly, but it's always fun to put a project together in a short period of time. And I guess all these school programs here will be primarily working in 8s, I guess. So it's sometimes a Cox 4 is a different project. Early in the season, mix it up. It's a lot of fun.
So going back down to the river, you've got more side-by-side action here. I think Sholto's just got to head off now to back down to Crabtree Rowing Club, where he will be have a little stand set up, I think, with Jack, his business partner at Crew Connection. And so if you are interested in rowing in the US, going to university in the US, and the amazing services they can offer in helping you improve your rowing, improve your scores, and sort of navigate that recruiting process, then do pop down to Crabtree Rowing Club on the embankment today and have a chat with Sholto and Jack. Thank you very much, Sholto. I think Rory is going to jump on the mic here as well.
Gonna continue to try my best. Apologies for the slightly Vaseline lens earlier. It's not super visible about how much rain is coming down, and the lens was not doing well in the rain. But we might, if we see a nice big gap, we'll give it another swap in a minute and see if we can get a little bit closer to the crews. We'll pull up the start order as well, but we've got a Latimer Upper crew coming down in front of me now. Yeah, lots of boats coming out of them recently. Definitely a homegrown talent type of club at the moment. Pulling out like last year's 8 was 8 of the same guys that had rowed together since they joined the school. So that's pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, and it's really good to see that sort of homegrown talent. And I think really probably special for that group of people to, row with the same group of 8 guys for 5 years at school, assuming you all get on, of course. Got a crew rowing in a little bit of a void here. which can be tough, but if you're a very, internally focused crew, that can be a really good thing as well. Just having your own race, no wash, no other crews to worry about. Back to some side-by-side action now. Crew from Eton College here. Looks like, I think, a team at Lombardia, Italy, possibly overtaking them as they come through. Yeah, that's crew, 92 overtaking 90. So you're clearly, this Italian crew has come over with, the aims of big race today and overtaking some crews and accomplishing that really well.
Also overtaking, we've got our first quad coming down from Tideway Scullers, just coming ahead of the Q House Coxed 4.
It's a really, really tidy looking quad, as we would expect from Tideway Scullers. It's our first mixed crew of the day there. So I think these mixed events that we've seen kind of come into the School's Head and of course this event as well now over the last few years. Obviously, Tideway Scullers perhaps a slightly bigger club, but really good for those athletes who might not have made a boat, or for those very small clubs where you might not have enough athletes to even fill a sort of boys or a girls force. So having that mixed event, it just gives you those options. And obviously, we're now seeing mixed events at the World Championships as well, and it's quite different, and it's a sort of it's another way to enjoy rowing, to have that challenge of kind of blending a mixed group where they might have rowed in their separate boys and girls groups before, and blending that into a crew. And that was a really tidy looking Tideway Scullers crew. Could have got a bit more of an overlap of the categories. It looks like a Borlase mixed quad overtaking this Eton Coxed 4 here.
Yeah, this Eton Coxed 4 is the last ones of the Coxed 4s. We're just solidly into mixed quads now.
Crew from Stratford upon Avon here. Very nice.
This is very exciting. This is our first GB Para Pathway crew, with a bit of a goal to try and get some of them into the Brisbane Olympics. It's actually pretty terrifying to think of Olympics, not just one cycle ahead, but actually two. Tomorrow we'll spend a lot of time with the Paris Olympians, but also the LA Olympic hopefuls. But it's very important to be aware that Brisbane 2032 is not too far around the corner, and Dan Cooper and Pete Shepherd and his team will be looking at some of these athletes, wondering whether they are ready for that Brisbane 2032 group. Walton Rowing Club in front of us now.
It's really good to see such a strong entry in this mixed quads event today, and so many crews trying out what has
I'm going to try
not
swapping the
been
lenses again.
such a traditional option in terms of events.
Okay, we're gonna give that a go. We've swapped lenses. If it gets really blurry again, we'll just have to swap back. We've got a great selection of equipment here at AllMarkOne, but sometimes in the rain it does get a little bit messy, just when it gets really, really, really wet, which it was earlier on.
So this crew, I think crew 102, just coming under Hammersmith now from Avon County. I can see a few different kits in there, so possibly even a composite.
I think that's the composite pathway crew.
There we go. Looking like some tall people in that crew, some big guys. I think in the words of some of our commenters, the Vaseline has returned to the lens, so we will swap back. Apologies for any seasickness.
Back we go. This is pretty exciting. We've got our first selection of women's quads coming down now. Women's junior quads, led by the mighty Wycliffe College, wearing their matching pink Unbreakable female athlete hats. JC, unbreakable female athlete, great friend of ours here at AllMarkOne. But yeah, Wycliffe are big supporters of them. They have continued to produce an insanely powerful junior women's program, as has Marlow. Absolutely storming it down the track. We're definitely seeing some higher rates from these junior women's quads. Really getting after it as we get towards Hammersmith Bridge. Next one of the group. Last year we definitely had a group of women's J18 quads that were really in the mix of winning that Diamond Jubilee. And Tideway Scullers was one of those. Wycliffe came out on top on the day. But if I'm honest, it was all to play for. Marlow, Tideway Scullers, Maidenhead and Wycliffe were all very much in the battle try and win that DJ last year. A really, really competitive event. Even with the inclusion of junior women's eights now, that definitely has got some of the clubs with more athletes separating their team into that. The junior women's quads continues to be an incredibly competitive event. There we go. The fourth one of the bunch from the 2025 season, Maidenhead Rowing Club. Followed by Hartbury. Always a very strong name in the Diamond Jubilee. The junior women's quad events at Henley Royal. As much as Schools Head and Junior Fours Head and Nat Schools are really important, a lot of these clubs still have that giant focus on Henley Royal final success. And a lot of their focus throughout the season is based on that.
But I do wonder, Rory, do you think, this event, obviously the first running of it this year, do you think over the next few years this might become, another sort of event that's considered in the same ilk as, the Schools Head, National Schools and Henley Royal? Could it form part of a quadruple? Obviously, a Tideway race over the full championship course. It's got that potential to be another kind of the blue ribbon events of the season for these junior crews.
Yeah, I really hope so. I've put my microphone down to try and find the start order. But yeah, no, I think like with junior, like with the Scullers Head and Pears Head being slightly less junior focused, the inclusion of the junior fours head means that these juniors have somewhere to race as we go into the depths of winter. Even though this week felt a little bit like summer, it was really good. We spent some time out with some of the programs as we were capturing our photos and videos in the build-up for this event. If you're questioning the quality of the live stream, I kind of don't blame you. The rain ain't great, but the quality that will be spot on is the photos that we'll be taking further up the course. Callum and Alex are currently on photo duty on Barnes Bridge and Chiswick Pier, so they're a little bit further up the course than us, so when the crews are looking a little bit fresher. And we've got our video man, Mr. Kit Whitaker, on the bridge at Chiswick Bridge, making sure that we get everyone as they go through the start line, so they're going to be looking incredibly fresh at that point in the race. So if you're wondering, you're a little bit far away on the live stream and you want to get a little bit closer and you want to see everything in a little bit higher quality, we've got 4K slow-mo videos available over there.
Do check those out and all the package options as well. We have packages to get all the photos of your crew, or the photo and the race video as well, all available over on our website, www.allmark.one. Website address is, of course, on the bottom of the screen.
Look at that. Slick is what we call that. We're panning back around now. We got Kingston Grammar School on the right hand side of your screen. Gonna grab my binoculars in a second, and I can do some crew numbers at the same time.
A crew from City of Bristol overtaking Kingston Grammar School. Really nice job, I think, by that steers person from City of Bristol to get that inside line, nice and tight under the second lamppost and get that fast water as they come out of Hammersmith towards Harrods.
Yeah, easy to spot this one. Bright blue of
Sorry, I do
Headington
apologise.
School.
Kingston were overtaking City of Bristol there. I have forgotten how to count.
Headington School in their Wintec quad, absolutely flying under Hammersmith Bridge there.
I've got to say I'm impressed by the sort of consistency and depth in the quality of the rowing here today. There's so many really tidy and quite racy, quite high rating looking junior girls quads here, and with those boys coxed fours, slightly slower, heavier boat class. So many sort of crews taking long complete strokes there and rowing that boat in the right way. So really impressed with the kind of depth and quality of junior rowing we're seeing out on the Tideway today. So, comment come in from Alexandra Watson. You're doing a great job, guys. I'm not sure about that, but
thanks, Alex.
We like the positivity. We're trying our best.
Questionable, but the crews that are doing really well. Wimbledon High School, of course. Alex Watson, head coach of Wimbledon High. Crew 121 in front of us now. In case you're having a bit of a look on the start order, we're
Great Marlow School.
121. Followed by Leeds Rowing Club. We're going to pan back round. We got Kingston Rowing Club on the right hand side, and what looks like St George's College. Yep, St George's College on the left hand side. So we got crew 124 on the left of your screen, and Kingston Rowing Club chasing them pretty hard on the right hand side of your screen. Kingston Rowing Club evidently having a great big old shift through this.
Yeah, it moved up 2 numbers in the from the start order
back
there,
to the crew that they started just behind of Headington School.
So this is the Headington School C crew, I think. So some great depth in that program. As we'd expect, kind of one of the stalwarts of junior women's rowing over the years under Ryan Domain. Crew from Clare's Court now, chasing them down. So they again, I think, have closed up there to Headington.
129 now, Shiplake College. Again, like lots of quads coming out of Shiplake College so far. Really showing like their big old mix. A lot of these juniors have to perform at a sculling level if they want to do any of the GB trials process. A long time ago, you'd be able to be thrown together in a pair, but this year, very much everyone to race in singles in November. Really shows off everyone's individuality and their own personal skill set. But it also means that we get some really cool sculling races, even if these athletes go on to race sweep boats later on in the season at Schools Head, National Schools, Henley Women's and Henley Royal.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a lot of these clubs coming past, Rory, and thinking, particularly this season, the number of these clubs home water that we're now getting to photograph the races there. So, for example, we have got...
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in with Putney High School in front of us. Putney High are actually the main supporters of Junior Force Head. This school has been able to pull together this event. Of course, we've got the chairman Tim, who's been really helpful in helping us make sure that we can pull together this live stream and our photo coverage and our supporters guide. But Putney High School is the real driving force behind this race. A lot of the races here are held by schools and clubs. So Sculler's Head is held by Vesta, and Pears Head is held by Barnes Bridge Ladies. But the big bit is that Putney High School have helped pull this event together, especially with the growth of junior women's rowing here in the UK, and with the growth of women's rowing in general, whether that's because of Title IX in the USA or just because it's grown in size at events like Henley Royal. Being able to get more junior women's boats out on the water for the Fours Head is really important, and the inclusion of a new junior Fours Head has really opened up the possibilities. We've nearly doubled the number of women's spaces this weekend by being able to just add in an entire extra event. full of categories. So it's really exciting, and we're really happy to say that we're really supportive of the work that they do there. And just want to say a big old thanks. I think just being able to pull an event like this together at like less than a year's notice.
Yeah, I think absolutely well done to Putney High School and Tim there, and thank you very much for letting us get involved and obviously stream this and do the supporters guide and photograph. And it's really great, working with event organisers and hopefully, trying to make sort of the best day possible for the competitors, and make sure that there's plenty of photos and videos available for them to remember the day and what will be, I'm sure, a tough race, a memorable race, a tough battle against the rain. I mean, of course, we say in rowing, rain makes the water flatter, which it does tend to.
Does. We just had a crew 138 pass us now. We got a bit of a battle here. You can also see that white bit of wood floating in front of us. Hopefully that hasn't caught anyone out on the way down. And a coxed 4, because you're sat so close to the water, you have very little chance of spotting anything in the water. So hopefully no one's run over that. But Wilf's got a few results in front of him, so we'll run through a few of the results because we've got a little bit of a gap here. We'll pan the camera all the way around to the right hand side to see some of the crews coming towards us. But Wilf, do you want to rattle through some of the results?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got our first few provisional category winners so far. So great job again to the organisers getting these results out so quick. So it looks like Marlow Rowing Club currently have won both the Open and Women's School Junior Quads. So really impressive show today from them. If those results stand, just obviously saying these are provisional, but absolutely well done to them. Shrewsbury School have won the Boys Cox 4 on our provisional results. Canford School, the Mixed Junior Quads. I'm very sorry to say, Rory, it was showing Norwich initially as the winners of the Open Junior Coxless 4s, but it's now saying that Abingdon are the provisional winners of that event.
That's all right. We did win Boston Junior Sculling Head with Nick, so I think that's the one that matters, and the Junior World Championships as well. So that's fine with me. We got, speaking of Shrewsbury School, we got 141 passing in front of us now. I'll just pan the camera down. There they are, Shrewsbury School's women's quad.
So it's their speed quad, I think, but an incredibly tidy looking crew. And as I keep saying, such a good kind of depth in the quality of the rowing we're seeing today, which I think is a real testament to so many of the junior coaches that put so much into their programs and coaching their athletes, and hopefully provide a real amazing life experience over the years that these students spend rowing for their clubs and schools. Crew from Hartbury here. So I was just mentioning a few minutes ago all the different kind of home stretches of various clubs that we get out to shoot the events these days. So we had a photographer at Gloucester Autumn Head the other week, and we will be attending another Gloucester event and a couple of Wycliffe events which take place on the same canal. So do look out for us on the bank there if you're racing there, or if it is indeed your home water.
Indeed, we love saying hi to everyone on the bank. We've definitely got, with 15 members of the team now, I understand it can be a little bit hard to recognise who is who, but we've got these lovely black jackets with AllMarkOne written on the back of us, and we've usually got a big pocket full of wristbands. So if you do spot us at an event, do come say hi. Our new 2026 season wristbands have just arrived in their box. We did get a little bit freaked out when opening the box in the dark, and all of them started glowing because our new 2026 wristbands are blue glow-in-the-dark coloured, which we think is pretty damn cool. So yeah, make sure we'll hand those all out to our members of staff over the next few weeks. So make sure that you go and pester them for some wristbands and go and say hi. Big old selection here. I think we've got 2 Shiplake boats, which is exciting. We've got a women's quad and a boys J16 Cox quad, which is really fun. J16 cox squads, again, like really fun category to be a part of. That is a pretty fast moving boat to be laying down in the front of. But Head of the Charles also runs cox squads, so it's always a good bit of training if you wanted to go over to Boston in America as a school trip or a club trip and go and race that.
And it's not an event we see very much beyond the kind of J14 and J15 level, the cox squads. So it's quite fun and unusual, and different challenge for a cox to see sort of remember each athlete's got 2 blades rather than 1. Another J16 cox quad from Marlow Rowing Club here. Looks like they have moved past this Eton Excelsior crew.
About right.
Or is that Haberdasher's Monmouth? I can't see the numbers from here. It's 156. Haberdasher's Monmouth. I do apologise for my eyesight there.
There they are. Yeah, that's them. Fueled by Bewbridge. No, Barn Elms. Barn Elms coming down after that.
So
they're a very local club, literally just down here on the right-hand side. Great place. Great at just getting, kids on seats in the water, and I think that's the important bit. We've got a lot of clubs around here that are really able to make rowing accessible to those in London, and it's really impressive to see. As someone that's come from relatively small boat clubs in my time, less than 100 athletes in each one, being able to look at a club such as Barn Elms or Fulham Reach that just has athletes on athletes that come down and use their equipment week after week it's really impressive, and more boat clubs should be trying to get as many athletes as we can out on the water, because at the end of the day, when we're looking at trying to create international success or just a really fit group of community rowers that just love going out and getting on the water and staying fit and healthy, it's always a good position to be in.
Absolutely. We saw a few boats back there, a stern-loaded cox quad coming past. So as a cox, in fact, a cox at the Junior World Championships in a coxed 4, I believe that was a bow loader. How do you find the difference between a stern loader and a bow loader to cox, Rory?
In a bow loader, so here we go. We'll use this one as an example.
Another stern loader here.
So over here, we've got a stern-loaded cox quad. Okay, so we got 4 people sat in the boat as usual, and the cox sits at the back of the boat, so that's the stern, sat in front of the stroke seat. Positives here, okay, they can look around, they can look behind them, they can nearly look in front of them, they can just look either side, but the big bit is they can see all 8 blades and exactly what all 8 of those blades are doing. So if someone's missing the front end or washing out around the back end, making a little cappuccino, lots of foam around the back, it's really easy to spot and be able to make that change. However, when we pan over here and we see a bow-loaded cox 4, we got the cox lying down at the front. I've always thought this is a little bit of a faster way to do it. I think it's really exciting also being borderline underneath the water, really getting the boat moving underneath you. You get a great view out in front of you. You can really plan your line. However, you can't see behind you. And apart from that bowman's blades on your left and right side, you are not seeing anything that's going on. You've got to put a lot of trust in the rowers that they're doing what they can, but also a little bit of boat feel. You've got to understand that, if the boat's moving a little bit twitchy underneath you, what that's likely going to be. For more information on different coxing levels and what you should be looking out for and feeling out for, I definitely suggest that you go and chat to our friends over at the Winning Cox, otherwise known as WOX. They've got WOXCon coming up soon, which I wish we had when we were juniors, or even university students, to be honest. You can go and listen to some of the best coxes out there, and me. So you never know. You can go and listen to what we've all got to say, and maybe some little tips and tricks. Equally, they're really good at working with slightly larger teams. I know that Latin Rapper work with them as an example. So if you want to increase your coxing level across the board, definitely chuck them a message. I'm sure they would be happy to help. They helped us out with our supporters guide a lot, explaining what the Cox does and what it feels like to be laying down there in what is at this point a very, very damp bathtub of cold water that you are lying in fully clothed.
Indeed, always. And here's a tip I can give you for rowers or coxes. A rainy day, take a sponge with you or something up to the start line, and you can use that to absorb some of the water and then squeeze it out and bail out the boat. And it it helps with getting in those nooks and crannies compared to a plastic bottle or something like that. So yeah, take something absorbent to absorb and then squeeze out the water and bail out the boat while you're waiting up at the start and save those extra few kilos of weight.
So we've got a big old gap here. I think we had a bit of a timing gap as we come into maybe. I feel like we've got a bit of a timing gap.
Looks like we've got the J16 coxed fours to come up next. They're on the course now, so we'll just see if we've got any more provisional results coming through to report back on. So still only the categories we've already said showing winners. Good news, Rory. Norwich are now showing once again as the winners of the Open Junior Coxless Fours.
Great success. That boat was looking very fast in training. I saw some great videos over on their social media account. At AllMarkOne, we try and follow all of the club's social media accounts. We want to know what everyone's up to. So if you think that AllMarkOne is not following you, send us a message and we'll make sure that is fixed. Sometimes we also send goodie bags of prizes and merch and stuff over to you, so it's always really exciting. Lots of boats coming down now. We seem to have had a bit of a gap, and then classic, like a bus or like a train, we get two at once.
Indeed, so we do.
Captain on the far side. We're just pulling up our start list, and then in the very bright pink on their way down now, Westminster School. Recently gone co-educational all the way through, so we're really excited to hopefully see some junior women's boats, not only at a J17 and 18 level, but hopefully also at J14, 15 and 16 coming out of this club as well. Abingdon are also going co-ed pretty soon as well, so that'll be really exciting to see how rowing develops at those schools in those younger age categories.
Yeah, and quite a challenge for those coaches. An exciting prospect for those coaches to have the chance of sort of building up a junior women's program in each of those clubs. From scratch, but also with the resources that those big schools can put behind it.
Indeed, Latimer Upper School here. Must be looking at boat 184 here. Must be 184, Latimer Upper School, followed by Bedford School. We'll pan to now.
So, on the J16 Coxed Horse here, I think an event that you might have won at the National Schools Regatta a couple of years back, Rory. What can you say about the J16 Coxed Horse event?
It's mixed. There's the really exciting bit is that compared to 8, and especially J18 8s, you can really pull together a fast cox 4 with not that many people. I know that sounds really basic because of course you only need 4 guys instead of 8, but it means that the final results can tend to get mixed up a little bit. Especially at national schools, the top clubs tend to dominate the top events. Now they've got great programs and they've got great equipment and they've got great coaching staff, but being able to mix it up a little bit in the coxed 4 categories, especially at the younger age groups, is really exciting, and it's really great for other programs. If you think of Kingston Grammar School, who absolutely dominated the coxed 4 categories at national schools this year. I think off the top of my head, and I might be wrong, we're talking about women's J18 coxed 4s and women's J16 coxed 4s. And in 2024, they also won the J18 boys coxless 4s. So, a relatively small program, but pulling out in incredible levels of success in the 4s category, because you don't have to have just as many athletes at the same level.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always challenging. You know, there's got to be, I suppose, some level of physiology in your, natural physiology in your athletes, and if you only have a very small pool, then it can be challenging to put out an 8 of really, really strong people. And if you're a club that has a huge number of athletes to choose from, you can find 8 really strong athletes to put in an 8, but when you don't quite have as many, you can still get that real top level of speed and power in a smaller boat.
Yeah, 190 Hampton School passing in front of us now.
So that's Hampton School's D crew in this event, I think. So
followed by King's Ely, I think, with the slightly Cambridge blue colour, which is classics. They train on the same stretch. They've jumped a few places, it looks like, but we also might be having a few gaps with some of the marshalling. But yeah, they look really good. Again, cruising down their Wintec Cox 4. Absolutely flying down the course as we pan round to the next one. This one's Latimer Upper. Yeah, that should have set it off ahead of King's Ely, but again, you never know. But that King's Ely crew was looking really good. They were looking really punchy on that front end and really taking that weight. Of course, instead of spreading that 50 to 70 kilos of the Cox across 8 guys, we're only spreading it across 4, so it can get a little bit heavy in these boats. But hopefully we've got a good bit of stream after the rain that we had this week that's able to carry them down the course a little bit.
Indeed. So we've got another Italian crew, a lot of Italian crews over here today, which is great to see, and making the trip over here to enjoy the weather, as we like to quip, and a really long, tidy looking crew here. Racy as well, they're definitely kind of attacking it in that rhythm. So coming over here, they mean business, and yeah, it's great to see kind of foreign crews coming over and experiencing this very historic and famous course, and taking on the challenge of the 4.25 miles, the Tideway course. I think this is a crew on their home water, Emmanuel School, coming by here. So rowing in a little bit of a void here. So, as a Cox Rory taking your crew down a Tideway head race, do you like to be mixed up with other crews and trying to overtake and work your way around them, or do you like to have your own space to do your own plan? What are the differences, and what would you go for?
I've always been one for getting involved in the action and kind of like jumping in. You can definitely have a faster run by fiddling with your footplate on the start line and having a bit of a gap in front of you. We're also just going to have a look at this Eton College crew that's just coming down in front of us. But yeah, you can be in a little bit of a void like this, and you tend to get a significantly better line as long as you know exactly where you're going, and you get just like a nice clean run. However, being able to be a little bit more like this and getting a good bit of side-by-side action. I think we've got Teddy's and King's Ely here, just absolutely flying down the course. You've got the pros of being able to work off someone else, and you've got a little bit of confidence knowing that you're moving at a relatively decent boat speed. But of course, your line is not going to always be as perfect as you would have had it if it was just a clear run.
Yeah, impressive looking Teddy's crew. They don't look like the biggest guys in that crew, but you can see there's a real rhythm in that boat, a real rhythm and spirit. The heads are up, the chests are up there. They're sitting tall, they're sitting well in the boat, and really moving on by, making up a few places with those overtakes past King's Ely. So yeah, very strong looking Teddy's crew there.
Perfect. Next up, Stratford upon Avon. Great club. They have been, again, really successful in the Cox 4 over a few years. They've pulling together whether it's at a junior level or at a senior level, just really fast Cox 4s. Those smaller clubs, and I think that is one of the big arguments for keeping this category, both at a junior level but also at a senior level, with international events really trying to cut it back. These clubs that don't have the same resources or the same number of athletes can still put out really successful boats, followed by an absolute storm of a crew with Headington School in the junior women's school Coxless 4s.
Yeah, really
Hand back to
strong looking
Shiplake
crew
here.
there. Shiplake following them up. So those were the 2 finalists in the Prince Philip Challenge Trophy last season. So yeah, really strong looking crews, living up to that form, I think, of the last year's Henley finalists, Shiplake and Headington, with the way they're rowing down the course, and big gaps over to the rest of the field, and a big gap from Headington to Shiplake. So perhaps they've moved away there. Looks like they're going a little bit tight on the line over past Hammersmith. Not in your view on shot, I'm afraid, but they're having to swerve around the safety launch and Red Buoy. So
our Henley Rowing Club also looking good in front of us. A little bit of a gap here to Wallingford Rowing Club, but they've got some really strong athletes in their team. They've been pulling out some really, really strong results. I'm really excited to see how they get on both today and the king of the river that is Wallingford Head. Fingers crossed that goes ahead at the end of the month. But yeah, Wallingford Rowing Club continue to also put out like really fast junior boats. Really took off in recent years, and they've just like continued to be smashing it. GB France, I'd like to say pair off the top of my head, but maybe a 4. Springs to mind on the boys' side, and then of course we just had Boston Junior Scullers Head to kind of replace the GB earlier ID November trials, and Wallingford Rowing Club took the win there in the junior women's single. Latimer Upper School coming down the river now before we hang back for Tideway Scullers. Local river, local club based at the start line on this river. Really shifting it, coached really well by Rona over there, the junior women's coach. And then I would say Godolphin and Latimer.
that is right. Another home crew coming past there.
It's Godolphin School 205. Probably been overtaken by Tideway Scullers if they set off in order. Before we come back to Shiplake again. A little bit wider, this crew. They're definitely cruising around the outside of this bend. I want to start getting the rudder on a little bit there, but it's looking really solid. Just absolutely cruising down the river. As you come around the Hammersmith Bend, you can get the classic call. I wouldn't suggest it because it is a long old way, but you can see the finish line. Come around here before Putney High School.
I think you do have to remember there's still 40% of the race to go, so it's still a long old way.
It's a bit of a confidence booster, though. Will.
It is indeed. It is. You get the cheers.
I can see the finish.
You get the cheers. You get the cheers. You have the support under the bridge. You kind of feel that building as you come through this section of the course.
Yep. St Paul's Girls and Wallingford Rowing Club in front of us here on the camera. St Paul's Girls been pulling off some incredible success in the J16 category last year. So as we have those athletes step up into J17 year groups, we're hoping that we get to see some really, really good moves from them. One of our members of our shareholder team, Lucinda Dowse, she was taught to row at St Paul's Girls, and that team has gone from strength to strength since then. Really able to hold their own. So we've just had Headington Parsers and Latimer Parsers and Wimbledon High School GDST just whipping past us now as well under the bridge. We've got a little bit of a gap, so those crews have done really well.
Yeah, so we had the first two women's junior / school Coxfours come down there in Wallingford and Headington. It looked like Headington had perhaps closed up to Wallingford there. Looking past Hammersmith now, I think they're within a length of clear water. So I'm going to say we could potentially see Headington win both the junior women's coxed and coxless fours based on the kind of gaps we've seen here at Hammersmith. But then we've got a very strong looking Henley Rowing Club junior women's coxed four here.
They do. You know what?
Bucketed in that boat.
For some junior athletes, these rates are looking incredibly high as we come over the halfway mark here. Like a big bit for this junior racing, this being able to compete on this national level is just like being racy and really getting after it. And just keeping that rate high, getting the blades in, and just staying consistent every single time. Sounds simple enough, but actually, rowing's a pretty simple sport. Slide forward, put the blade in, press really hard, and take it out again at the end. So, sounds complicated when you start working on all the technical bits, but if we're honest. So, if you can nail the basics, you're off to an absolute blinder. We've got a little bit of a gap here. We'll go through if there's any extra results before we come back to this Wimbledon High School crew as they come past us.
Indeed, yeah, we've got some provisional results from the Open Junior 16 coxed quads and coxed fours. So looking like currently Shiplake the winners of the coxed quads and St Paul's the winners of the J16 coxed fours there. So a bit of a mix of winners so far on the provisional results, which I think is great to see in terms of sort of the depth of junior rowing. Obviously so far Marlow looking like the winners of both junior quads events, so very, very impressive showing from them so far on these provisional results.
Yep, Wimbledon High School based out of Molesey Boat Club, not too far from here. I'd like to say 2 locks up. Before we have Teddy's St Edward's School. We saw them recently ahead of the Charles out in Boston on their women's side, and then they are absolutely flying down the course here. Lady Eleanor Hollis following them, the sister school of Hampton School, boated out of the same boathouse on the same Molesey stretch, not too far from here. And then just another St Paul's girls school.
And then second St Edward's girls coxed four there. So
there they are. Cruising down, lovely Wintec Cox 4. Just flying down the course there, flying down. Now we got another big old gap as we come to the next set of boats. Let's see if we can point it at them off in the distance.
yeah, so coming to our last few categories of the day here. Got the women's school junior coxed fours coming down now, and then we will be expecting the J16 coxed quads and coxed fours, both on the women's side again, as our final 2 events of the day.
You're sat there with the start order open in front of you. We've got Putney High School boat 233 whipping past the lens now, I think.
I think there might be 226.
226,
so they've
but
got 2
further up.
crews in this event.
Perfect.
2 crews in this event.
Slightly
but,
higher up. We haven't jumped that many yet, but 226, Putney High School again organises this event.
A really strong looking crew for their home race.
Before we pan back to Bedford Girls School. We're off in Bedford on Sunday as well for Starhead. I imagine some of these boats will also be racing. There's a lot of Bedford Girls School boats entered into Starhead as well. So busy weekend for them, racing on Friday and Sunday. But Starhead's a significantly shorter course, so that'll be really exciting to see. But Bedford's Girls School, again, like some great set of results. And they're, again, really competitive at the likes of GB France trials when you can slot the squad down into slightly smaller boats and really show off some of the athletes that you've got in your team.
This is another Italian crew from Varese. I believe you've been there shooting once or twice over the years.
Again, we spoke about the raciness of some of these boats, and that is, good bit of hip swing, really try and accelerate that
a real
Cox 4 through the water before we pan back to another Godolphin school, I think.
A real traditional
229.
Italian style from that Italian crew we just saw go past. The kind of big swing back, really use the hips to get as much out of the stroke as possible.
The blue back and the maroon front of the blades here from Norwich School, boat 231. So putting in a good shift here. That is the boat that I won J16 Cox 4s in when I was at school. I'm really excited to see that Stamford 4 still out in use. Really exciting. It is not the one named after me.
I was going to ask.
That one's not as ranked as high as the one that we've just seen.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Next boat coming down. We've got another Wimbledon boat, maybe? No, doesn't look like it.
I think this is a Wimbledon boat. I think your hunch was right, looking at the
blue
green and dark
t-shirts
blue
threw
kit.
me off. The blue t-shirts threw me off a little bit.
Crew 228 here, Wimbledon's second girls Cox 4.
A really new
event.
program. Like we're talking like very recently that these programs have really come into force. But they've been doing really well, evidently, as we pan back to the armada of boats that are about to fly towards us now. We've got a mix of 4s and quads. We're gonna let some of these boats pass us because I'm really excited to watch this battle right in front of us here between what I think might be Bedford Modern School and Putney High School. Again, this Putney High School boat seems to be making some really good moves, but it's going to be pretty tight to squeeze through here. I think that's Perkins is in front of us as well. Henley Rowing Club out the front of this pack, followed by William Perkins.
Yeah, I think that's William Perkins' crew 237. It looks like they have made up a lot of places in this pack, so a lot of different overtakes going on there, but it looked like they were the highest number and really moving through right up onto the stern of crew 236. So we can expect a strong performance, I think, from that Sir William Perkins crew based on the overtakes we've seen out on the water. I mean, this Godolphin crew here, I think, has been passed by one or two of the crews in that pack.
Yeah, Headington School in front of us now. The rain has really picked up. Hopefully you can't see it too much on the camera. You might be able to hear it with one of our little microphones. But in general, it's just got significantly darker and it's just started to rain again. Hopefully we can kind of rattle through the rest of these boats. You know, we're looking for about 40 boats to go now, so we're approaching the end of the racing schedule. But it's like just as exciting as it was before. As we approach women's J16 Cox quads in front of us now.
Yeah, so the last couple of categories coming down now here, you know, they will have spent a long time out on the water, you know, potentially boating first or certainly obviously having to boat before the race and then wait up at the start in the rain and come down. You know, how do you manage that as a Cox, you know, looking after your crew, as a Cox just trying to stay warm and as an athlete?
Yeah, you know, it's hard because we're tight on space here, okay? So in the US, I don't want to kind of hark back to Head of the Charles too much because actually I think our Heads of the River week is pretty damn exciting. But we're a bit limited on how many people we can put on the water at once, how many people we can keep on the land at a time, and how many people we can race fairly with the stream. But that limits us a little bit on how many people we can get out on the water. But it also means that we've got to boat so many people in one giant block, and that means that a lot of these boats might have been sat on the water for over an hour waiting for this race to begin. So yeah, you can get pretty cold, you can get pretty wet, and then you've got to carry that cold and wet kit all the way back down the course. And if you boat at the start line, like some of the boats that you see paddling up against us, against the racing line, they're going all the way back to the start line to boat from their boated clubs. And they've got to carry that kit even further.
Yeah, it's a real trade-off there, I think, between, you know, boating nearer to Putney, nearer to the finish, and rowing up and you know, perhaps sitting there in the rain versus boating nearer the start and having less of a wait before the race, but then having to row all the way back. And I think the only trick to really get around that is to have a trailer driver who will let you rig up in Chiswick and then drive down to Putney to de-rig and collect the boat.
We're hardy people here, Wilf. We don't do any of that.
Of course not.
But you know, when we look at the Oxford and Cambridge boat race fixtures, we've got trial dates coming up in mid-December. That is where we see a little bit more of that like team management and operation style. It's really exciting to see because of course here we kind of boat the boats, we set them off, and then we say, cool, we'll see you when you're done. But actually during those fixtures and during those trial eights, whether Brooks and Leander get involved with Molesey and Thames and London, or just trying to race each other, we've got launches out there on the water. They take all the kit off the boats. We store it in the safety launches, race the race, and then sometimes we just get out of the finish and then that's the end of it. Or you put all that kit back on and you have that slog back to the start line on Putney Embankment. The boat race is held the same course as this, but the opposite way around. So again, really exciting for some of these J16 athletes that may have never raced on this course before.
Yeah.
But have seen it since they're like 7 or 8 years old on the TV every single first weekend of April.
Yeah, and then obviously another opportunity, you know, with this new event for some of these crews to get a run down the Tideway course. Obviously with the limited numbers in the Falls Head, with that featuring all the senior crews as well. You know, there's more spots for these J16 crews and more athletes getting the chance to race on this hallowed ground.
Indeed. We've got Lee Rowing Club, East London, massive in front of us here. Just cruising down the track. Great to see them here in their bright orange kit. You can't not spot them.
Just been informed that the last crews are already through Barnes Bridge now, so
It means our photographers are going to be uploading those bridge photos any minute now.
Absolutely. So yeah, we should be seeing the last few boats come past in the next 10 minutes or so. And yes, please do check out the photographs and 4K slow motion video clips. Hopefully they will give you much better closer up view of the rowing today. And a really nice memory for these people to take away from the first ever edition of this race. So do check out all our photos, video clips and packages, where you can get all the photos of one crew for, you know, a huge discount, or all the photos and the video clips of your crew on www.allmark.one. You know, photographers working very hard, you know, out in the rain there today. You know, we've got a gazebo here keeping us dry, but they're just you know, making do with umbrellas in this rain, getting those photos shot, getting them looking good and getting them online, so that hopefully these athletes can see them pretty much once they're off the water. So do go and check out all our photos, videos and packages on www.allmark.one.
Yeah, I think the big bit that screams to me is we're over 10 years into this business now. I co-founded it with my friend Rich when I was 15. Like I was a J16 athlete when we kicked this off, and it seems, you know, from the outside, like sometimes we're a really big company, and you know we like do everything that we do because we've got loads of people, but actually we just really love rowing, and it sounds like really simple, but that's kind of it. I can't lie. Like we love sitting out here, whether it's rainy or windy. Whether like the event runs or not, we love going to rowing events. We love hanging out with the whole rowing community, and if we can give back, then we do. And we're hoping that these cool photos and videos can really help it out. We also do free images at the likes of the GB Junior April trials and the GB Junior February trials. So again, if you're trying to work out where the money from these photos and videos goes, it goes into like supporting projects like that. We really want to make those sides of rowing bigger and more exciting, and we want more kids to sit in school and decide to join the rowing team. I did when I was 12 years old. I know Wilf did as well, and everyone on our team was a rower at some point, and we just love the sport. And to be honest, if we can get more kids involved in rowing at a younger age, that's great for everyone involved. So, you know, check out the website. We're not some like big conglomerate company on a big office building. We are just a load of rowers that really, really damn like rowing.
Absolutely, yeah. By rowers for rowers, as we like to say. And you know, I think this started as a few people who would take their camera down to their rowing training sessions and get some pictures of the crews, and then I think they might have met on the riverbank at Bedford Regatta, the first three. And then a few months later, I got a message from Rich Man, obviously one of our co-founders, asking if I wanted to get involved as well, and there have been many more over the years. Lucinda and Kit and Callum and Alex are all out there today who have joined up. So everyone's kind of either held some rudder strings or an oar in their time, and you know, really cherishes the photos they have of their time rowing, and you know, wants to produce the best pictures and videos and memories for these guys to keep and have on their wall, and I suppose in more modern times on their phone or on their computer, to remember, you know, when they're a few years down the line and looking back with nostalgic eyes.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to look back in hindsight now, but I know Wilf and I would have loved a few more photos from our time. Both of us have represented GB and represented the country as a Cox, but also, you know, just race for our clubs and our schools. and our universities. And I think like being able to look back on those memories is really important, and even just having the opportunity to look back on them in the future is really key, and that's why the photos stay on our website forever. There is no deadline. You don't have to buy them within the year or within 2 years. If you want to go back to our archive of 2019 photos of Henley Royal Regatta, you can go and have a bit of a stalk, and I think that's really important to us here, making sure that everyone can continue getting the same amount of like visibility that we hope to give everyone now.
Absolutely, yeah. There's terabytes and terabytes of photos on our servers. I do wonder how many have been taken in total. I wonder if it's over 10 million at this point.
Yeah, I think we're talking about 10 million. Yeah, for sure.
So do go and check those out from any races in the past, and like we say, they'll always be there for you to go back and look over. Got the last few boats coming down here now. I think that might even be crew
I've got a launch.
275, our final crew.
Lady Eleanor Hollis storming down in front of us.
I think this might be crew 270 from Latimer Upper School. 274, I do apologise, another Latimer Upper School crew just rowing past their boathouse now. Looks like they might be closing out today's racing.
Oh, we got one more.
One more, sorry. Is that a Borlase crew there from up in Marlow?
Red and navy, so it very much might be.
So yes,
it could be also the Bedford Modern.
So we've had 275 boats racing today, and they've all come past us in the space of about an hour and 20 minutes. So I think your real credit to all the volunteers, all the marshals, all the umpires out there today, organising such a slick day of racing.
On a Friday as well.
On a Friday as well, on a working day, people taking time off work to come and do this and make sure everything's safe, make sure these junior athletes are safe, and making sure they get the best and most enjoyable day of racing possible. So massive thank you to the organisers, umpires, volunteers, everyone out there on and off the water organising this race and keeping it running so well.
Yeah, indeed. We're always open to some lovely constructive criticism. I expect that we had a few lens issues, but actually, if you have a look over at our supporters guide as well, we'd love to hear from you over like what you think we should add into that supporters guide in the future. We've kind of put in what we think is a great idea and what we think we wished we had when we were rowing and when our parents were coming to watch us at rowing events. But actually, like if there's something that stands out to you that you wish that you knew about this event, we'd love to hear from you. There's an email address on our supporters guide, or just chuck me an email direct to me, contact@allmarkone.com, and you ding my phone 24 hours a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Do go and check that out again on our website. Address is, of course, on the screen, www.allmark.one. And hopefully that guide, although made for today and the first running of what will hopefully become an historic event, hopefully applicable to all the Tideway Head races and rowing more generally, and perhaps we will update that for a few other races.
Definitely will. I'm really excited to try and pull them all together. I want to really pull one together for National Schools and Henley Women's and Henley Royal, but I think our eyes are set firmly on Schools Head, Women's Head and Men's Head for the next ones. But that rounds us out here. I think Wilf's going to give us a bit of an update with the results, and then we're gonna tap the microphones and we will see you tomorrow. Wilf, go for it.
Yeah, just trying to get those loaded up now. Let's see if we have any success.
I can fill the gap in the meantime. These launches on your screen now, these are all the volunteers. Actually, a lot of them are rowing coaches, so they've been watching their boats come down. Again, because it's a Friday, a lot of the umpires, volunteers, marshals, coaches from local clubs have just been busy at work, and it is mad. You can see how many of these little tin fish 2-seat launches have been necessary in pulling this race together. We really want to say thank you. These races wouldn't happen without them. And yeah, we will do our bit to shout about rowing. But if there aren't events for those people to go and do, it's all a shot in the dark. Right, Wilf, take us away with the results.
Yeah, we've got a few more results. So I think my prediction may have been correct. So Headington School have won provisionally on these results, both the Women's School Junior Coxless and Coxed fours. So two very strong sweep crews from them there. And then Team Lombardia, Italy, have won the girls J16 coxed quads. So, really coming over here, coming across Europe, meaning business and doing the business out on the water today. So well done to them. I think we're just waiting on a result from the Women's Junior 16 coxed fours, which will of course be on the organisers' results page. So we might leave you to go and have a look at that. But yeah, really impressive displays of rowing and performance from Headington, winning both the junior women's sweep events, and from Marlow Rowing Club winning both the girls and boys quads events today. And as we keep saying, to give your thanks to the umpires, volunteers, marshals, everyone making this race happen. And do check out the photos, videos, packages and the supporters guide over on our website at www.allmark.one. Thank you very much for watching. We will be online again tomorrow. Race starts about 45 minutes later than today, 12:15 for the fours head. So hopefully we will see you there. Hopefully things will run slightly smoother, and possibly, although the forecast is not suggesting it, we might even get some slightly better weather. So goodbye, enjoy your afternoons, and see you tomorrow here on YouTube and over on our website again. Thank you very much.